Hi there, it's Darren from ProBlogger here. A couple of weeks ago now I bought a MacBook Air. Those of you who follow me on Twitter at ProBlogger will have followed my umming and ahhing about it. The reason I bought it is that my 15-inch MacBook Pro one day just decided not to work, and I took it into the Apple store and they said it'll be at least 2 weeks, probably 3, before it's fixed. It only took a week to get fixed in the end, so I was a little bit disappointed, but I was without a computer for 2 or 3 weeks, I thought. And so I thought perhaps it's time to buy a second computer. And I'd been looking at the MacBook Airs because of their portability. I do travel quite a bit each year, have a couple of trips coming up, and just thought for its size and ease of use that it might be a good backup computer to have when a computer goes down or when I do travel. And so I'd been sort of eyeing off this tiny little computer. It is literally tiny in comparison. In fact, it's really not that much bigger than an iPad. You see there the size difference between them. I bought the 11-inch one instead of the 13. I figured if I've got a 15-inch computer, a 13-inch probably wasn't that different. And I've been using the 11-inch for the last 10 days now. And it has been a joy to use. The first day or two I was a little bit concerned about the screen resolution. I found myself squinting from time to time a little bit, and it was a bit of a difference, a bit of a contrast between the larger screen and this. But apart from that, it has just been a joy to use. It is very light. I'm not hauling my big computer bag around anymore. I'm throwing it in just a personal bag. I've just ordered a case for it to protect it a little bit more. But on that portability front, it's obviously fantastic. I was a little bit worried about loading software to it. I do have an old desktop computer which is almost too slow to use as an actual computer these days. But I was able to load Microsoft Office onto this one using the drive on that one, sharing it via Wi-Fi, and that was pretty easy to do. You can get a super drive for it for $99. So on that front, it hasn't been too much of a problem. The hard drive is a bit smaller, but I use Dropbox these days mainly to back up my stuff and to keep documents and that type of thing as well. So really, I haven't had too many problems with it at all. I'm not noticing the size of the screen anymore. It's not bothering me as much. I've probably altered my workflow slightly. I will show you the difference in screen size in a bit. One of the things I've noticed going back to the MacBook Pro in the last day or two since I got it back, I wanted to get some documents off it, a couple of pictures that I had on there. It really feels clunky now, and that's partly because I've been using this tiny little machine. But the other thing I've noticed is that the MacBook Pro, it has quite a bit higher profile at the front, and one of the things I've always been frustrated about with it is that I feel it cuts into my wrists. Now I'm probably not holding my wrist the right way, but for me the MacBook Pro always felt like it was grating against my wrist, where I'm not getting that at all on the MacBook Air. And also the screen itself. The screen on the MacBook Air, I'm told, is pretty much the same sort of screen as on the iPad, and it is much clearer. It seems to be just a lot easier to view, and the MacBook Pro is looking a little bit clumsy and clunky in that way as well. They're both great machines, good for different purposes. I'm certainly going to keep the MacBook Air, and at the moment I'm almost toying with just using it as my primary machine because it's been so great. I have done a few videos on it and created some videos on iMovie. It was a little bit slower in that type of environment. Perhaps needs a little bit more grunt, although I've got all the higher specifications on it. So I'll probably keep the MacBook Pro for that sort of more heavy editing. But at this stage, the Air has been fantastic. I'm going to grab the camera and just show you the difference up close. But I would recommend, if you need something that you're not going to do a lot of grunt work with, you want something small, do consider the MacBook Air. Okay, this is the MacBook Air up close. I'm just going to compare the size. You obviously do have a larger screen on this, the 15-inch, wider, but also it's the height that I guess if there's anything that's bothered me about the size of the screen, it's that you're obviously not getting quite as much screen real estate in terms of height. There's the comparison between the two and how much you can see on the ProBlogger website. Width isn't really a problem there. The size of the keyboard is very similar. Probably the main difference is the function keys are narrower in comparison to the MacBook Pro. I think this bottom row here is slightly wider on the full-size MacBook Pro, but apart from that, it's pretty much the same. You do have a narrower area here, which I quite like. The last day or two when I've been getting back onto this computer, I found myself typing down here when I've been thinking I've been typing up there. Obviously that just takes a little bit to get used to. Connectivity on the side of the MacBook Air is quite different. This is where you are losing some features. You've only got this is your power. This is the one USB on this side. You do have another one on that side. Your earphones. Of course, on the MacBook Pro, you're getting a lot more FireWire. You've got the two USBs. You've got your display connection there. And on the MacBook Pro, you've just got your DVD on this side. And of course, there's no DVD on the MacBook Air. You've got another USB there. And your screen plug-in. That's pretty much it in terms of connectivity. So it is, it's not as good on that front. But look at the size of it. I mean, gee. Let's compare the two of these and you start to see what we're talking about in terms of the portability. And I guess the last thing I'd say about the MacBook Air is that it turns a lot of heads and it is really quick in terms of turning on. It's double, triple the speed of getting it on, although really in the end that doesn't really matter too much. Anyway, that's the MacBook Air. Hope this has been helpful to those of you who have been considering this sort of